Warning, 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 warning.
This is a emergency broadcast. Code Red, Code Red, Code Red, here we are. Pick up your iPads, your cell phones, and have me and listen to Uncle the Podcast. Watch out. If you're sitting down for this, or if you're standing up, you better get ready for this, because it's gonna hit the eardrums. Uncle the Podcast.
You're listening to Uncle the Broadcast. My name is Aaron. I'm the nephew-in-law, and here with me is the star of the show, Uncle.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on Friday night, but I just don't know what day, don't know which one it is.
You're looking for the number of this episode of Uncle the Broadcast. Is that it?
Correct.
Would you believe me if I told you this is 126?
Oh, yes. Yeah. 126.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
Up there.
What was the last episode?
125. That's right. I remember now.
Do you remember who our guest was?
It was, I guess, I forget who it was, though.
J.G. Michael.
J.G. Michael back on the air.
Yeah. He was on last time. I actually just spoke with him on Trans Resistor Radio, but he is he's got to get his rest in tonight, so he can only do the first hour. But he did let me know that he wants to come back and come on this show and maybe have us on his show sometime, the both of us, Uncle.
Oh, well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it could be a good time, right? We like talking to him.
Yeah.
Uncle, what stands out in your mind of talking to the different guests we've had on Uncle the Podcast?
It makes it interesting to talk to other people as on these shows, because you know who we can get to. We can talk to some of these people, and they are different people once in a while.
Yeah, we can talk to the world is our oyster in a way, isn't it?
That's it. That's the word. An oyster. Why do you have to have some kind of oysters? This is perfect to get somebody talking to other people. And that's the word I was trying to get to.
Yeah, throw some Tabasco sauce on that oyster.
Yeah, that'd
really, that's like heating up the conversation with controversial topics.
Yeah. That's what we need to have.
That's basically the Tabasco sauce on the oyster.
Oyster, like, yeah.
And that's a good way. That's a good analogy for this show. Yeah.
It has something like that. I've heard, though, we might have a background or something around here that I haven't gotten in touch with him yet, though.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I had to get a guy who wants to have a talk, and he said he listens to my broadcast.
Do you want to give a shout out right now, Uncle?
Yeah, shout out to him.
Who is this?
This guy that we talk on the train.
It's your friend from the train, right? Yeah, the commuter train. The train that you take to work. You have a buddy on there that you talk to that he does graphic design?
That's what it was. Traffic designs, and he'd like to ask if
he does printing.
He'll do your printing for us.
He offered to print a banner with our logo
on it to put in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, you had it before,
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to
with
get
the sheets.
The sheets.
We use the sheets.
Well, use the sheets, but he said he has something. So
yeah,
I would like to get back with him and try to see what it's about.
Well, sir, if you're listening, and I'm told that you do, first of all, thank you for listening to the show. Yeah, thank you very much for that very kind offer of making the banner. We may very well take you up on that, because
I just haven't been able to get back with him to tell him.
Yeah. Well, if we go through with that, I'll get some artwork together. We'll get our ducks in a row. We'll contact your man on the train there, and
since we have to talk about us tonight, I figured we'd shout out to that too.
Yeah. Shout out there. Thanks. And Uncle, you've been getting quite a few listeners through the train and maybe through work and stuff, right?
I've been getting some people, but not lately any students yet. Lately.
Yeah, they're a tricky bunch, aren't they?
They're tricky people, but I grab them when I'm having a break, sort of, and they said, "Oh, sure, I'll listen." I have a student that was listening to that one on time, but I'm sure though she has been listening. It's a lady, and I think she's been listening, but I haven't been able to say how
Well, Uncle, if there's anything we've learned from 1980s TV sitcom spinoffs, it's that college students live in a different world.
Oh, yeah. They do that. That is one thing about that. That is one thing.
They're in a different world all their own.
That is true, because you get them once in a while. Uncle, the podcast, that'd be something to listen to. So we can pop on, and then they start talking about that.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so shout out to everybody who does listen to the show that's jumped in, and new listeners, people that we know in real life. Keep telling your friends and your family. We want to grow this show, don't we, Uncle?
Yeah, pick it up some grow out.
Follow us on the social media. We're on that social media. We got that. We got intense engagement on our social media platforms, Uncle.
Yeah, we have the social media stuff, and that they can talk to some of these people that really want to talk to us.
Send a tweet to Uncle.
Yeah, tweet me. You know who you are.
You know.
So I'll actually read them on the air. Read them on the air for you.
Oh yeah. If you do an iTunes review of the show.
iTunes reviews.
Yes.
I was getting to that.
Thank you, Uncle.
I was just trying to get to that.
That's important.
I know you might lost control of that. That's why I figured I'd tell you that.
Thank you for reminding me.
On that.
If you write up an iTunes review for the show, we will read it on air.
Read it on air as to know who the person is, of course, and then we'll go from there.
The thing that I like to use in this example as Uncle is to encourage people to write intentionally strange things in the review that they think might be funny to have read on air.
Right. Yeah, and then he gets on, and I'll get to you, and then you get the person, whoever it is.
Maybe, put some gobbledygook in the vein of Dr. Seuss in there, just for good measure. Like,
yeah. Oh, Dr. Seuss is a pretty good guy.
Yeah, say.
Uncle,
I think we should explain to people that I literally had to wake you up to do this show just now. That's why you're yawning a bit.
Well, it's because I had a busy week. It's might have been had a busy week.
Wow, I was just going to say, I've never heard Uncle yawning on the air before.
Well, this is first time for me because I sort of was tired and had my meals and just didn't eat tonight because I wasn't hungry.
Well, see, youngins like Aaron don't understand. You start to get a little older, sometimes you eat, that makes you tired, right?
Yeah. I start eating something and, I might have popcorn later, but that's what to say.
Some energy food.
Yeah, of course. When the Oscars were going on recently, Uncle, I was thinking of you.
Oscars?
Yeah, the Academy Awards, right?
Well, I didn't get into them much than I would with the music, but now the music has been powerful. I mean, I know how I get into these awards, right, Chuck? I know how to get into these awards, but lately these awards are not been actually into the music. I've been trying to get into this music.
Best soundtrack, best score.
That's it.
Those are the awards you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, you want to know who gets that.
It's a shame, though. I need to say, it's a shame because some of these song singers that we know passed away, and I like listening to some of those, but of course,
they do the tribute montage of this is who we lost this past year.
If you really listen to that, you know what I'm talking about. Well, whoever's I'm listening to, the people that have listened to them things before.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that you like to tune to, Uncle? I mean, I know you like to listen to podcasts on the train, but I mean, what is it that you grab if you got a whole bunch of music in front of you, all kinds, right? And you could listen to anything you want all day long. What is it that you'd put on first?
Well, it'd be rock. Main thing would be rock.
Classic rock.
You
like that?
Quiet sounds.
See, what would be classic rock? What would be classic rock at this point, though? Because I remember classic rock in the 90s, right? And classic rock in the 90s was stuff from the 70s and the 60s. Right. Nowadays, you turn on what they call a classic rock radio station, and they're playing stuff from the 90s, right? And the early 2000s, and then they go back to the 60s. Yeah, everywhere.
70s, 80s, 90s. It's this group people's now.
Mhm.
It's those kind of
Well,
music
those
now.
satellite radio stations,
Yeah.
they deal with that with the classic rewind.
Oh yes, the
Station.
rewind stations
They-
have some of the decent music.
So they say this is
some
classic rock from the cassette era
Cassette,
of music.
all these kind of things.
Hmm. And then you have classic
Cassettes-
vinyl.
Yeah.
The final.
See,
Like
cassettes were huge in the 80s, right? They were
Oh,
they
yeah.
were around in the 70s. They were huge in the 80s. They still existed in the 90s, but they died, right? So
They died after the nine.
sure.
You're right. Exactly past the 90s, it started to die off. Here we are listening to this music, and it's what you said, Chuck. Going into the 90s, and boom, what happened to it?
Yeah, well,
Disappeared.
the compact disc happened.
The disc just flew back in. The disc, some kind of disc, come to us now.
It's like throwing the discus in the Greek Olympics.
Correct. That's exactly what it is.
see, I don't know
Pop
about
in.
you, Uncle, but I like the 8-track tapes before the cassette tapes. You remember the 8-track tapes?
Oh yeah, they were back then. They were back when. Oh, we were listening. I was actually listening.
1970s, I'm told.
Mm-hmm.
1970. That was your year.
That was before my time. I didn't
Yeah.
appear until 1980.
Well, that's right. You weren't in there.
Before that, I was just an idea.
Oh shoot, I was a 60 man. This guy here's an 80 man. Chuck, what are you talking about? These
Well, I was
talking as accomplished in this.
I was a little kid in the 70s, right? So the first thing that I saw was 8-track tapes, really.
So then you were in the 72.
Oh yeah,
Back in the
We're
70s.
representing all the important decades here.
Yeah, that was a decade. Yes,
this is the
that's exact. Then it's sidekick.
the multi-generational breakdown of the musical eras of the classic rock, if
Yeah,
you will.
yeah.
It's important to
it's-
differentiate. Yeah.
I'm the 60. You were the 70. Pop the 80s in there, and then we have it going, and then going from there up.
Oh, yeah. We just keep on rolling with it. Yeah.
I'd like to see what happens in the hundreds, though. I haven't got to that yet.
Yeah. We need to get a millennial in on the
I
show.
wanted to see what goes on with the 90s, and we get to the 90s. We know what the 90s are. What would be the hundreds? That would be something to hear.
Yeah.
I know that back in the future coming.
A lot going on in the history of rock and roll here, isn't there?
Yeah. But like I said, I haven't listened to any of these others back now since these others passed away. We get to
Things are changing. Yeah,
I mean,
music's
you
different.
can tell in the music world. You can
Quite a
tell.
bit different.
Yeah. Why they Chuck?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Look, things have definitely changed a lot, but it's kind of weird because, okay, see, you say the word millennial, I'm still confused because
Anyway,
you know there was what my generation was called Generation X, right? But let's see, where are you at, Aaron? Are you the Y generation, or are you also a millennial now?
I'm before millennial. I believe it's Y. Yeah, I remember my yearbook in high school was actually titled Generation Y, but like the word Y, WHY question mark,
No, that makes
Generation
sense.
Y. Yeah, so they were playing along with that. But yeah, I fall into that, whatever in the world that even means.
But it's so weird now. It's like millennials count anywhere from like the age of 35 or so. So I guess you fall just right, like on the cusp. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit before that. Yeah, a little bit before that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't quite make it to millennial status, and what a millennial even is, and all I know is that we should be here complaining about how terrible all those millennials are. I hear a lot about that.
I should come back to conclusion one. What is our favorite year?
What's our
Let's
favorite
put
year?
on the years that we've been listening.
What, in music?
That's all. That's three. Yeah.
No, our favorite year. I gotta take it back to the year 802 AD. I love that year.
Mine was, of course, the 60s. What is yours, Chuck? Since we're on the years.
Yeah, what's your favorite year?
You know, music-wise, it's a funny thing. I really appreciated the 70s and then the 90s. Music-wise, both of those decades. The 80s I'm not so thrilled with because there was a lot of electronica and garbage. I mean, there was some good stuff, but I mean, for me, it's like the 70s, the 90s, and, you know, some stuff has come out that's okay since then, but, you know.
Not a new wave fan, huh, Chuck?
Not so much. Not so much, to be honest with you. And it's really odd because you'd think I would appreciate it because I did get into punk, but I like the old, gritty, you know, CBGBs, Sex Pistols, Dead Boys kind of punk stuff. And they're like, well, that kind of progressed in the 80s. And I'm like, no, it kind of went electronica like everything else, you know?
How do you feel about Devo? Do you not like them?
Well, see, they are weird, and anything weird, you know, weird is always good.
Yeah. They certainly got that covered. Yeah, and they're from Akron, Ohio. Gotta love it. I love Devo. They're awesome.
Devo's one. That was one I liked at Devo.
You know their songs, Uncle?
I know a few of them.
Whip It.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's big hit.
Not a bad song. I don't mind those kind of songs, but
Yeah.
there's these crazy others. There's this one song that his wife used to sing, and I cannot stand it because it was my wedding song. I cannot stand that song.
Are you talking about the B-52s?
Yeah.
The Love Shack, right?
The Love Shack song. What the heck do you get out of that?
To give listeners a little backstory here, there does exist a wedding video starring Uncle.
Yeah, that I don't know what got into my wife at that time.
And
I
a prominent song on the soundtrack of said video is Love Shack.
I can't understand how she got in. Wife that I'm talking about. How she got into that song. I mean, I understand the song, but the point is, I just couldn't get into it.
Well, she just happens to like the song just because, and you now happen to have a bad association with this song.
With that song. I mean, I can understand wives trying to figure out a song.
Yeah.
I only won't. They figure out a song, but a song like that, B-52s. Wait a minute.
Uncle, I just want to comment briefly.
Wait a second.
What's Chuck have to say?
There's a hilarious gem here.
Since we're getting into something, I'm getting into this now. Since we have nothing to talk about, getting into this.
There is a hilarious. Oh my God, Aaron, a video that I pictured a video in my head. You don't understand. The B-50. First of all, I understand why Uncle doesn't like the B-52s, but not just because of the bad association, but hilarious to me. I mean, he can't watch that Flintstones movie either. I bet probably gives him the shakes. But imagine a video where it's just a clip of Uncle getting angry at Love Shack Baby. I mean, just that part of the song.
Shack Baby. I mean, I can understand the baby. I don't understand the baby thing, but the baby thing. Story. We're still talking.
Back to the baby.
We could go back to the New Year's Revolution thing.
It's like being
about
born.
The baby thing. I'm still thinking about the baby on this thing, and here we are talking about the song about the baby.
Back to the beginning.
I didn't realize that until come up with this kind of stuff. Now I'm getting into this stuff now, into my show, trying to understand the baby stuff.
Back to the start, Uncle.
You want a really bad experience to link this all together, tie it together. Maybe this is why destiny brought us together, Uncle. You ready? So, my first wife, the biggest mistake of my life. My first wife.
Yours?
When did I marry her? I married her on the eve of New Year's, okay? December 31st, 1999. Why did I do that? Well, first of all, it was a good night to get drunk. And secondly, I was quite inebriated, and a very small part of me was really hoping that Y2K was for real and maybe the world would end.
And that early? What the heck's happened?
No, worst thing happened. I actually married her. So
that's the worst thing that happened. What the heck's going on here?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough memories here.
I can't believe I was married 3 times.
See, Aaron, it's funny. I was thinking about you with the last hour where you were talking about these, interesting groupings of people, and thinking to myself, if you were 30 years ago with your head bald, right? People might think you were a skinhead, which is the way that they used to break people down that way. With the skinhead thing, you had straight edge skinheads and you had Nazi punks, right? And it's kind of funny that today the skinhead doesn't symbolize anything because now everybody's shaving their heads. It's an odd thing, but if we put you in a time machine and sent you back 30 years, they'd be checking to see if you're a Nazi or a straight edge guy who doesn't drink or whatever, right?
Is he a natural guy? You mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you know Nazis and skinheads, right, Uncle?
Yeah. Are you a skinhead?
No,
I'm just a man who went bald and now shaves his head. That's all I am.
That's what mostly everybody with the shaved head is they started going bald. They said, look, this looks stupid. I'm just going to, let's go full on cue ball and get it done. Exactly. I get it. It's all right. That's
where I'm at. Although I will say recently after I had started doing this style of haircut, I was at the airport and there was a guy who had the skinhead getup and a shaved head, wearing the boots and the whatever those pants are that they wear and all
red
that.
Suspenders. Did he have red suspenders?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He had that sort of look going on, and clearly that's what he was. And he looked at me and he's like, he looked at me as if like, oh hey, bro. He gave me that look, and then I was like, oh boy, this already happened. I wasn't expecting this. But,
Oh, it's the I know what that was.
What was
because
it?
Of the reaction in the mirror of what you're trying to example.
The man in the mirror?
This sidekick. You're trying to get the man in the mirror, and it grown on you. Now you made the fashion side.
No message could have been any clearer.
So no, that's true. And Uncle, I have a question for you. Actually, this brings up an excellent question. Have you ever had somebody see you somewhere out in public that you didn't know, and they see something on you, and they all of a sudden think that you're a certain kind of guy, and maybe you're not?
Yes, I gotta go back. I have had some people remind me of somebody. Coming back.
Yeah, but they mistook you for somebody else, maybe.
Correct.
What happened?
They tried to put the face to a name, and this is what happened, and it just couldn't put the figure there to it.
They thought you were somebody else.
Correct. Okay. And they just couldn't figure out who he was. And I see where you're coming at.
You're wearing, Uncle, I'll note this, you're wearing your Harley Davidson shirt now. Have you ever gotten any comments from people talking, like asking if you've been to Sturgis or anything when you wear that?
Oh, yeah. Uncle the Biker. Is anybody coming up to you going, hey, man, are you a Hell's Angel? What's up?
Yeah. There was some back in the past that said something about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you in a biking show or biking group?
Yeah.
I was, oh, no.
What kind of bike you got? You got a fat boy?
I have back in the past, yeah. Back my year, talking now.
That maybe they thought you were
a biker going down the street.
They could have mistook you from Paul Tuttle Sr. from Orange County Choppers.
Oh, yeah. Some kind of chopper. I mentioned something.
It could have been your New York accent threw him off. Right?
Yeah, that's what did.
Like, I heard that voice.
I have a lot of people with an accent. They do have talked to me about my accent a lot. New York style. Hey, you're from New York? I heard that answer before. I had a lot of comment about that. Yeah.
Paulie, I got a couple ideas for his bike over here.
Yeah. I've actually talked to a lady that was actually from Los Angeles. Originally born from Los Angeles.
Born and raised in Los Angeles?
Los Angeles. We're on a train. I was on a train.
Well, sure. Yeah, we're out here.
And people, a lady I talked to a couple of weeks ago actually asked me, and they said, she asked me where I was from. I asked her, I told her I'm from New York. Oh, I'm a Brooklyn boy. Ah, yes, I like Brooklyn people. And she said, she's from there. Some pretty good people there.
There you go.
So,
New York, L.A.
And that's a weird little sub-niche set of people when it comes to the Brooklyn thing, because it's like, you're from Brooklyn. Hell, your family's from Brooklyn. Brooklyn is this badge of honor among certain people. I will say something about L.A., though, since you brought it up. When I was out there, I did not see a single person, encounter a single person that was like from L.A., in L.A. Everybody was from somewhere else.
Very common.
Yeah.
That's very common here.
Well, this one lady, she said she was born there. I said, born? I've never had anybody actually talk to me that was originally from New L.A.
That's true.
This lady hit me with it and said, "Yeah, well, I was born there."
Yeah, you meet some here and there, but yeah.
I mean, that was the first I ever heard of anybody originally from born there. I mean, they just said that. They said it right out to me like that.
This is a destination place for people to live, so people come from all over, and you find that most people aren't originally from this area.
And then she knew about trains, and we got into the train thing. So, oh no, LA is that way. No, LA's this way. I went, no, San Diego's that way. We was talking. That's how we got into
Uncle,
the conversation.
I have some Los Angeles news that we should cover here. It's going to be important for us.
What is that?
This is just a news story. It's a possibility being floated out there, but it was I know KTLA 5 posted this, and my wife sent it to me. But there's talk that the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels baseball team, may be moving from Anaheim to Long Beach.
That's what I heard. Now,
hear about that.
This would be interesting. But I heard my train buddy said me this morning. It dawned on me, now that you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what would be the point? And then we get down to the train, but we have this train in this stadium, and everybody's going to the train, on the train to the stadium.
It's all set up this way now.
It's set up this way, and now that if they move there, it should be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. This is what the company wants.
There's been talk of moving the team lately, and it was always nobody knew where it would go to, and this just kind of broke. Like, well, possibly it could be going down to Long Beach.
Well, but then they'll have to grow up. I mean, they'll have to build the stadium yet.
Yeah. They even have the spot where they would put the stadium, which I know.
But it was only a couple of property land. Not as long land that it has here. That's a good point. That was what we were talking about.
If they were to build, you're saying that people wish the team would come out inland instead of going out toward the coast. Is that what people are talking about?
I think that's what he's
because there's more available land out here.
I think that's what he's trying to get to. When I was listening to him,
that's an interesting point of view.
That's what I think he was talking about when I was listening to his comment about it.
Personally, Uncle, for me, it's a win-win situation. If it goes to Long Beach, I'm happy because you know that I lived there for 6 years. I like Long Beach.
Yeah, you like Long Beach, and you know the area.
I know the area very well.
So wherever the stadium would be set up,
I know how to get there.
I mean, you know how to go. Well,
and then if the team moved there, I like the team. That's our team, so we'd want to see the game. So it'd give me a reason to go to Long Beach. I'd be happy to go to Long Beach. It'd be fun. So that's cool.
Yeah. I would do that.
I got two questions here. First of all, there used to be an arena in Long Beach years ago. I don't know if they still use it, but there was an arena there. What are they doing with that property, number one? Number two, you know what somebody told me the other day I was totally unaware, is that they're going to move the Raiders? Is that true?
Yes, to Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh my
Vegas, yes.
That's been an ongoing thing for a while.
Yeah, it was. And actually, it might be this year, wouldn't it?
Well, there's been a little backpedaling with that. It seemed almost like a done deal for a while.
Yeah.
But then recently, I've heard talk that maybe it won't happen. Maybe they won't go to Vegas after all, and they'll just stay in Oakland or something.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I think it's it's a him come and go, like he said, a come and going thing. And I don't know. Come the next Super Bowl, another football season start. They're starting to build. They're starting to build it. Well, I believe, but we saw reviews of where it's going to be built.
You're talking about the Vegas Stadium?
The Vegas Stadium.
Yeah.
But it'll be in a weird place, I would say.
Yeah, called Vegas.
Vegas Stadium. Now, think a moment, people here. Think of what you would say it. What would you say the name would be?
Of the stadium?
Of the stadium. This would be absolutely
Well, at some point it'll be Taco Bell, Verizon, Arena or whatever. So it doesn't
That's
matter.
what I was going to say. Name some corporation.
Name a
That'll be the name
corporation.
of the stadium.
Well, then they'll have to get it for the food people. If it'll be okay to mention that word, the name. I mean, they'll have
maybe
to
it'll be Cisco Arena or something. There you go.
Cisco Arena.
Yeah, Cisco
way.
food distributors. Yeah. I could see them having an arena. That makes sense.
Microsoft Memorial Stadium. What the hell?
What
I
is
know.
this?
These stadiums. Oh man, we could go on about the stadiums alone.
People and I've had customers saying Los Angeles Rams was not going to watch a game because they got moved from somewhere to somewhere.
St. Louis.
St. Louis and jumped over back to here. Said,
some people are still bitter that they left LA to begin with and they came back. Okay, well, whatever. I don't care because I wasn't around then. I'm here now and then whatever.
Well, see, that's the thing about the Raiders is I thought that was just really a bargaining chip that they've been constantly using to get them to keep giving them tax breaks. That's what I figured it was.
Yeah.
But then I heard that it's really going down. It's actually going to happen now.
Well, you might be right after all, because if there's this pullback, we're like, no, we're not going to do that anyway. That would kind of lead one to believe that the tax break incentive for the team was the driving force all along. Of course, they will never tell you that outright.
Never will. They know that's a business. So people are not going to say, oh, let's do this. Oh, no, let's do that. I mean, here we are talking about a team. Okay, and they all, matter of fact now, they all want an inside stadium. Every single team.
Oh, yeah, they want the
if
fancy
you
stadium.
talk to a ball team and they say, oh, we want a stadium and we want an inside stadium. But what? Well, I can see a point of that being because of the weather. That is a given. I can understand with the weather. But here with all these other teams that have the old time, like the Los Angeles, like the ugly team we don't like, and then the team, and then the Green Bay Packers, and all these.
They're outdoors.
And the Denver Broncos, all these other teams.
Yeah, they all have open air arenas,
They have
don't
open air, breathe air.
And they could use the dome, couldn't they?
Those people can use a dome.
Well,
in those kind of states.
I think we've been dancing around this issue, but the whole stadium thing is a big hoodwink, really, by the NFL, which is a business, a private business, and they fool people into thinking that when you get your local government to pay for the stadium, which is what happens, the local government pays for the stadium, somehow it will stimulate the local economy and you'll make all the money back that you paid in to build the stadium. It's not really true at all. But, it's a good way to get a free stadium for the NFL and the team in question. And I think that's what you're getting at there, Chuck, with the Oakland there is playing around with that kind of sort of thing. So there's all these sorts of like business deals going on and this public-private goofing around with the NFL that is annoying, but it's definitely an issue.
Right, but they're kind of the king of it at this point because Major League Baseball has fallen out of favor. It's too boring a sport. Now they're going to try and attach time limits to pitchers. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that, Uncle?
I heard something like they was talking about that.
Really?
Was saying something about the pitchers.
You got to get the ball out of your hand quicker.
Get out of the ball hand and pick up the speed
of the
with
game.
The throwing of the thrower.
The pace of the game.
Right.
Yeah, I saw an article that said like 20 or 25 seconds you got to get rid of the ball, and if not, they'll charge a ball against you as a pitcher. So, in other words, if you don't get rid of that ball quick enough, you don't beat the clock, then ball one.
The problem with that though, there's too much catcher to pitcher talk about. And first of all, what are we pitching to? And who are we pitching it to? And find out if this pitcher can take this kind of pitch. And this is what involves with the pitcher. Involves the pitcher and the catcher thing. Mm-hmm. You're trying to talk, and already have this problem with the manager. The umpire comes in and says, all right, let's pick us up a little speed on this program.
A lot of moving parts.
That moving part action going. So it's already got that involved. So now what are we going to do now?
Go faster.
Go faster in the game like this.
See, the funny,
it's not like playing pocketball, hitting with a puck with a ball, hitting with a ball. It's not like that kind of game. Basketball, whatever they call this thing.
Well, you know what's strange, though, Uncle? Think about this for a second, though, is that when we were kids and we played, they used to tell us that when a pitcher is really bearing down on you and he's throwing quick, you step out of the batter's box, you break his rhythm, right? So
yeah, you do that too.
This is what they always taught us to do. Now, you're breaking his rhythm. He's taking time. He's taking signs. All this stuff takes extra time. And, if they want to speed it up, it seems to me like once the pitchers adjust a little bit, it'll be to the advantage of the pitcher if they actually do it. I don't know how they're going to really enforce it, though. You think, what is the umpire going to watch, have a stop? One of the umpires has a stopwatch? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, that's true, because there is a slow pitch that they got to take their time with, and they're saying they want to speed it up. How does the pitcher? I see what you're pointing at, Chuck. About how does it pitcher speed up his pitching? I mean, I'm starting to believe I cannot see that. I'm getting to a point. Well, let him have his time to figure out what he has to throw. I mean, here it is. I gotta agree with you on that with the pitcher standpoint. Let the man have his time with trying to figure out what pitch he's going to throw. Yeah. I mean,
I hadn't heard this one. This is
crazy to me. I mean,
they're trying to keep baseball viable to the finicky television audience.
Oh, well, I don't know how it will work, though.
Well,
I mean, here it is.
It seems like they might be grasping at straws, quite frankly.
Yeah. It's not like saying, oh, well, we're going to say a play. And we make a quick play in a football game where a baseball player is completely different. It's a little slower because my sister never did like baseball, but she sees it so slow. She likes action. Like,
that's the whole thing, Uncle. She's not alone. She represents the average American television viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And
they're bored, all right?
She's bored. She don't like, period. She does not like baseball, period. I know her, and I know that. I mean, that sport she can care less for. I mean, she likes a speeding game like football, and that's about it.
Her and millions others.
But what's funny about that, though, Uncle, because, look, I don't watch football that often, but this year I watched a little because I wanted to be able to talk to you. That's why I did it, right? And I watched it. And to me, in the past, when I used to watch the game when I was younger, the game moved quicker. Television has slowed football down. Television wants baseball to speed up, okay? And yet, it seems to me like both sports are getting ruined because of the television consideration. You know what I mean?
I agree with your point. That's another point I was going to come to, what you're trying to do. I think it ruins the sports completely. That's what you're saying there, Chuck. I mean, I let them do their thing. It's like, I'm saying to him, shoot a golf ball. Hell, excuse me, but this about a golf ball. Now, we heard about a golf ball problem. Well, these guys shoot a golf ball. We got to watch how he shoots this ball. How far you think it's going to go? Oh, it's going to shoot, boom. And you talk about something being bored. Golf ball, shooting a golf ball is worse than watching a baseball game. Here I am talking about something slow. Let's put that one in a little bit of perspective.
Golf is definitely a niche sort of audience there. So they have less of a problem, I think. The Major League Baseball and the NFL and NBA, those are such huge sports designed to have mass appeal.
And actually now forget about basketball. Yeah. She can get someone to listen to basketball be a shot.
And I mean, at the core of it, these games are just another form of entertainment.
Oh, yeah, they're all entertainment. No question about that.
That's what they are. And
That's
so,
all it is.
And so being broadcast through the medium of television, it just is that the peculiarities of that medium are going to affect the game itself. Because the game is being produced as a piece of entertainment to be viewed on a television.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But, I got another idea in mind here, and this is the strangest thing I want to run by Uncle, because he's the sports guy. You know what I mean? I know, Aaron, you know sports, and I've known sports in my life. I'm not an expert on any of them, but, I got a taste for quite a few things. Another controversy that I'm seeing, and this is totally something that I would never pay attention to. By the way, I don't know why golf is even a sport, but anyway.
Me either.
Yeah, see, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's
but
going quiet.
Yeah,
slow.
Come on, it's a game, okay, but so is Monopoly. It's not a sport, all right. Anyway, it takes less time to play Monopoly. All right, so. Yeah, slowness. Okay. But here's another weird thing that's been coming up lately, and I have no idea what to say about this. Tennis. Tennis is an interesting sport sometimes, right?
Oh, here we go into that.
All right. But here's the thing about this, right? You remember tennis legend Martina Navratilova? Remember her?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Remember she had a rivalry with Chrissy Everett-Lloyd years ago?
Yeah. I always got into that. I've got into them, too, and the men's side, too.
Yeah, because you probably like McEnroe.
McEnroe.
McEnroe and
character.
What's his name? The other guy.
Well,
I always got into
Bjorn Borg or Andre Agassi, the Flash.
Agassi, and the other guy. What was the other guy? There was another one there. I got into those matches. Those. I gotta say, I got into them because they were the two good matches. Okay, when is he gonna play? Oh, here. Right. Oh, the match it's a match I want to see.
It's a personality thing. The personality sold you on the sport because you were watching a hot-headed, intense player that was really doing something, and it's cool, right? But here's a weird thing. Martina Navratilova, and here's something because I'm sure you remember this. She got a lot of flack because she's gay, yeah?
Oh, yes. A lot of flack back then.
And of course, what's her name? The other one, Billie Jean King, was gay too, but not quite taking the flack Martina did, right? People used to threaten her if she beat the pretty girl on the other side of the net. they would threaten her life, straight up, right?
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
I've heard.
You remember she used to have extra security. I mean, that's before somebody stabbed Monica Seles or whatever when she was on the court. Remember that, too?
Yeah.
Somebody jumped out of the crowd, stabbed, I think it was Monica Seles. I got to check. But one of the prominent female tennis players was stabbed by a fan one day. But anyway, but Martina was threatened all the time and showed a lot of courage. And, I'm being myself and all this stuff. So anyway. She wrote an editorial recently, and people are on her real bad because she was saying that there's a lot of sports now where these men who go get an operation to become women are competing in female sports. And Martina said, look, this isn't right. And I'm all for people doing whatever it is they want to do, but a male who has now surgically become a female should not be participating in female sports. And she has gotten a hateful backlash from people that would normally be on her side. She's not playing anymore, but she's a figure. She's a historical figure. She was a great champion at her given sport, and definitely was there saying, look, I am who I am. And I'm out here for the right to, this is in the days when, literally she got death threats where it was like, I don't even want to repeat the language used on this show. But it was effectively, you beat the pretty girl, Dyke, you're dead. I mean, and that's the nice version of what they would send her in the mail and dead animals and all kinds of crazy things, right? But today she's getting flack for this, where she's saying, there's sports where men go get surgeries. They're now women, and they're competing, and it's not fair. Now, I remember it was like last year or the year before, there was a lot of controversy over that Ultimate Fighting champion who was once a male and then turned female and was fighting in the female ranks. you got any thoughts about any of this, or are you just as perplexed as I am that they're attacking Martina Navratilova for her taking a stance? Because even if they disagree with her, right, you'd figure that they would say, look, you know what, we respect you, you're an icon, you did a lot of good work for a lot of people that were being picked on, and this and that, and we disagree with you, but respectfully. But they're not doing that. It's almost like a new nasty wave is coming up against her, even though she's retired. And it's really weird to watch the way people react to retired athletes and what they do to them. But you got any thoughts on any of that?
It is one, because I have watched a movie talking about that. I've watched a movie about T. King. There was a show about that and a man. Where you're coming from, Chuck, and I saw this movie about it, and it was something about King about, and this man wanted to be a test where you're saying, and they had this going on. It was something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that was about the Bobby
crazy.
Riggs thing. That, if you remember when you were a kid, that was about the Bobby Riggs match, because he was like a, kind of a semi-pro tennis player. And he wanted to prove that men were so great, so much greater and stronger than women, that he put on this whole big sideshow over at Madison Square Garden, and it was the battle of the sexes, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. And said, well, now since you're talking about that, this is what I had to come up with that because of I heard that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, I think, become a beacon that women, where they are, should be let it alone, and it was what she did, and now with this other thing you mentioned, I think we say it's wrong. First of all, to have that, it shouldn't have that. Man should be man, woman should be woman, and I don't sort of agree with
there's
a
biological advantage for a man over a woman in a sport.
But I agree with what he's saying.
That's just how it is.
I mean, I agree with Chuck is saying that it should be that way to that way. And I don't know, it's just the way people are.
Navratilova is just pointing out, look, men have the advantage in women because they just naturally are stronger in body.
In a general sense, men always have upper body strength advantages over women. That's in general. That's not to say that there aren't women that have greater body strength than me or you. There certainly are. But the thing is that in general, on average, the average male has greater upper body strength. The average woman has a greater threshold for pain. I don't know if people know this.
Correct.
But,
That's very true, yes.
But you know what they do, though, lately? They usually use pass these kind of pills. And they think they'll be acting like a man, and they do like that stuff. Now, that's pills things.
See, that's
what do they call them?
That's the thing is when you talk about steroids, right? And you start talking about doping the system, changing up your physical system. It's not legal to do that, even if you're a guy and you add hormones to yourself, right? So why would this even be an issue? I keep wondering, and I feel bad for Martina Navratilova. I think they need to back the hell off of her. Because she just stated her opinion, and they can agree with it or not. But they're getting real nasty with her, man. I think it's out of line. What do you say, Uncle?
I've got to read up. We got to read up on that. I haven't heard.
It's a bizarre situation for sure. Yeah. I only glanced at that article. I wondered what it was. I'm glad you mentioned it here, Chuck. You'd think, as you're saying, that she would have paid her dues to those who are all up in arms about this now, and they'd be like, they just let it be like, well, that's how she feels. Okay.
Yeah, at least earn the right to not be abused by the progressive people who would have been celebrating her up to that point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I would figure, but no, not necessarily. And this kind of thing happens with sports figures. Now, what's funny is we basically almost killed the entire hour picking Uncle's brain about sports, even though he was half asleep. And listen to him. This guy needs a job on ESPN, for God's sake. I don't want to lose him, but, anybody listening to ESPN, I say Uncle needs a show on ESPN, man. I would tune in every night to hear Uncle's analysis of whatever he wants to talk about. So
I could get into. I could really tell you. Talking about this a minute, I could really pick their brains. Every single sports announcer. I mean,
right.
They'll go absolute bananas trying to figure me out. For example,
you'd be a good co-host for Deion Sanders.
Whoever Sanders, he made a good point though in football at that time. The quarterback was not ready. I have to agree with him there. I have to agree with him there.
Quarterback was not ready.
Not ready to play this.
Sorry.
And that when I heard him say that, I said,
"Oh, you're talking about Jared Goff at the Super Bowl? Yeah, that was Deion Sanders' opinion there because he's a young guy, not quite ready. That's what Deion Sanders had to say about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was picking at.
Yeah,
I was going to it, but now
I would love to see Uncle wear Neon Deion out, man. I'm telling you right now, that would just be.
He hadn't heard anybody talking.
Well, you two could talk about Florida State quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard about Big Dog, and here we go on talk about that.
Oh, a lot of comment there.
I have a comment about that. He'll know about that. He'll know about what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Because he was up.
You're talking about Odell.
Odell, he'll pick his brain too, because he played.
Does Deion know? Does Odell Haggins know Deion Sanders? Do you know?
I'm sure he probably does.
Probably does.
I haven't talked about it, but I'm sure he probably does.
5 minutes left in the show now, and I didn't even get a chance to ask Uncle about the whole situation with the Patriots owner in Florida. I really wanted to get
Pick
there.
That out now. Give him a few. Wait a minute.
We have time for this.
Let's have that conversation.
Since we can go a couple extra minutes. Go ahead.
A couple minutes on that. You can throw that out.
Okay, throw it out.
Throw it out there, Chuck. Now, this is what I would love to get into.
Here we go.
This Patriots owner, right? He's busted over at this place. Now, personally, for me, I say this is one of those, usually it's a victimless crime, but now they're saying that these people were human trafficked and all this stuff, and it's a billionaire going to a massage joint, man. I mean, how embarrassing is that? And what are your thoughts?
You want my choice?
Yeah, I just want your thought. I could tell you mine, but
Lovely, because this guy's a nut. In Cohen's case, trying to get some money off of this dude, trying to get his team breakdown.
Kraft.
Robert Kraft. Break it down. I love this to break down that team a little, and I agree.
He owns the Patriots, of course.
Yeah, I know. He owns the Patriots. But this guy is crazy.
What did he do?
I don't actually know what.
He solicited prostitutes.
Oh, no, that's what it was. Prostitution.
Yeah.
Now, we all know you touch that line of scrimmage, you're going to go somewhere. You're going to go somewhere.
That's for sure.
And if this guy, if they can't put him in a cage, there's something wrong with the government.
Something wrong with the system if he doesn't pay for this one.
Completely.
Well, would you feel good if if they forced him to sell the team because he violated the NFL's clause against making the NFL look bad? Would you feel good about that?
I would say that. I would say they'll have to do something to the team. I would agree with that.
New ownership.
No ownership throw in there. Forget this and get a new ownership.
Get somebody else.
They're throwing everybody else out. They're throwing a coach. They're getting rid of coaches. They're getting rid of other coaches. Why not him? Why not get one of the owners?
Good point.
I mean, that would be a good point there, Chuck. Get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Clean the house out.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. Equal opportunity to try to get. Why not put it all on ball and wax and get this stuff done?
Yeah, really.
I agree.
See,
we don't get that guy out of there.
Well,
and see how far they'll go without Kraft. I would love to see what they would do.
Yeah, different owner might change the entire organization, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
And that wouldn't be a bad thing because, is anybody tired of the Patriots winning yet? I am.
Yes,
so
we are too. We are. This house, back on that. We'll be on that boat. We hate these New England Patriots, and we hate seeing this team winning all the time. Let's change the tune here a little bit. Let's get someone else.
Throw Kraft in jail already.
Yeah, throw him in jail. I agree.
Come on.
Put him in there. He got loads of money. He don't need money anymore now.
Yeah, he can
He's
live off
got
his
the-
money in jail. He'll be fine.
Put the money in jail. He'd be fine.
Prison. He just live off that
nothing
money.
there. Shake him up a little.
He'll be just fine. If
Yeah.
he goes to prison, I'm sure.
Yeah, no.
I
He can
don't
take-
expect that will happen, but
No,
you know,
me
if it
neither,
does, he'll be okay. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he'll be able to buy himself out of this situation.
He could buy
One
himself
way or
out
another.
of two. He could buy out of that attitude, trying to get out of the jail.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of jail free card.
Oh, back to
easy.
Monopoly.
Do a back to Monopoly game.
There you go.
And that'd be he can afford it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Let him buy golf courses with Trump. I'm done with him. There you go.
Yeah. Trump.
Aaron, you know believe it or not, we
Got
killed a
money.
whole hour going through sports with Uncle, and I'm telling you, man, it's so enlightening. I don't know if the Uncle listeners appreciate it, but I do. I'll tell you that.
But I couldn't honestly think of anything else to talk about since we don't have anybody.
Plenty of stuff to talk about, as we can see.
We're quiet, and sports we did. I mean, there's a 12 out of
Uncle,
sports.
I gotta give a shout out real quick.
Well, shout-outs. Throw shout-outs to now. Forgive me,
Somebody
shout-outs,
won our
shout-outs.
game of Name That.
Somebody won?
Yeah, I played an Eddie Money song.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Take Me Home Tonight. I played that
Oh,
on the
yes, I
guitar.
knew that song. Who the heck won?
Well, appropriately, my friend from Long Beach, Errol, an old roommate, actually a friend from Ohio. I originally knew him from Ohio. Then he moved out to Long Beach, and then my wife and I moved out to Long Beach, and we actually, we were roommates for a time, and he's a good friend, good old friend.
Well, okay, we'll have him talk on the next show.
Yeah,
Throw him out. Tell him, if you get in touch with him, shout out to him that you'll be, maybe if you want to be on my guest of show next week, put you on.
There we go.
I'll throw it
shout
on
out
to me.
to
Shout out
guest
to what's his
request.
name,
Yeah.
or whatever his name is.
There we go.
And I have a good show out for him. I'll have a guest out for him.
Also, really quickly, if you have Skype, or if you can get Skype on a device of your choice, more than happy to make you a guest on the Uncle Show. No
Yeah,
problem.
that
Right
too.
now, the phones are not working properly, but the
how
Skype
is that
is
going?
working fine. Except for when you try and integrate it with a phone call, as I learned
that's
again last night. So
How is that coming along?
terribly, they changed it again. They told me it's okay. Don't worry, it'll work now, and it doesn't. So just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, the genius is over there.
I still want to get those geniuses in action and get these phone calls. Of course, that's your side of the story, Chuck. I want to get that going.
I'm gonna solve it. I assure you, I will solve it one way or another. But so far, these technical geniuses have not solved it. So
Because I haven't said nothing tonight about it since you brought it up.
I appreciate it, but I know it's on
Good,
your
that
mind.
was-
So there you go.
And how you feeling? You still good?
I'm doing okay. But like I say, we're now over the hour, man. So
Yeah.
Over the
This
hour.
is the end of the show, Uncle.
Yeah.
End of the show. We're just getting into the thing.
You better tell the people our website.
Website, unclepodcast.com.
We're on Twitter
We're on Twitter
at Uncle
at
Podcast.
Uncle Podcast.
Instagram. Same
Instagram
thing.
and Sprint. On Sprint,
Yep, we're on there.
we're on the Sprint line.
Don't forget our Patreon.
And our Patreon for people that are interested in Patreon.
Support the show.
Support the show
Patreon.
a penny a day. And that's
Penny a
what the
day
penny
goes a long way.
And it goes a long way. It's
That's-
like drop a lot. Bye-bye.